Thank you for joining us on the program held to Living on ITV. I am Adisuwa Sawage. So sometimes when your stomach is having a party, like a bit of a wide party, and a lot of things are going on in your stomach, and sometimes you'll be wondering what's really happening. Why are all the ones having a party? What is happening to me? You may not know. So today we want to talk about peptic ulcer disease. And we have Dr. Jolly Nosa Igoma, who is going to be talking to us about that little party that always happens in your stomach, that one that you neglect, where to go to, how to go about it, and how to know if you are suffering from peptic ulcer disease. Dr. Nosa Jolly Igoma, a pleasure to have you join us today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And it's like we're meeting for the first time this year.
Yes, yes. Happy New
that's
Year.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So, Doctor, quickly, talk to us about peptic ulcer disease. What is it? What are the causes, the symptoms, and of course, maybe possible treatment and prevention? Let's do all of that.
Yes. Peptic ulcer disease is the commonest disease condition that we have in gastroenterology. What I'm saying is that the field of medicine that is concerned about the disease that affects the intestine, that has to do with the abdomen, has to do with gastroenterology. So that is to say that patients will always come down with pain in the abdomen. And there are different organs in the abdomen. And those organs play a different role. For as much as we humans, we eat to survive, it therefore means that there are organs that are concerned about digestion.
Okay.
And one of those prominent organs that is concerned for digestion is the stomach. The stomach also produces an acid, what refers to as the hydrochloric acid. Any food that you eat that goes to the mouth, masticates, the tooth process, it goes to the esophagus, which is the gullet. From there, it goes to the stomach. The stomach produces an acid, and the essence of this acid is to help to detoxify and, tend to destroy every microorganism that will have been in the food that we have ingested or eaten. But you get to understand that this acid, as well as the pepsin, can also act as an agent that will eat up those organs.
Okay.
So, for example, when the hydrochloric acid that is produced by the stomach, when it begins to destroy the stomach wall itself, somebody can begin to have a sore.
So why does it destroy the lining of the stomach?
There are factors that are responsible for this. Of course, the word peptic ulcer means that we can have sore in the esophagus, we can have sore in the stomach, we can have sore in the duodenum. That is to say that we have three types of ulcers. We have three types of peptic ulcers. It can be esophagus, that is the gullet. It can be the stomach itself. It can also be the first part of the small intestine, which is the duodenum. You see, there are some risk factors that will make somebody to be prone to developing this destruction of the lining of the mucosa, which covers, the stomach wall and the duodenum, to prevent acid from destroying them. Normally, their defense mechanism is supposed to be protected against self-destruction. But when somebody has an exposure to an organism refers to as Helicobacter pylori,
and what is that?
The commonest cause of ulcer worldwide is a bacterial infection.
Okay. It's not the ingestion of too much pepper, because that's
what people believe. But I will tell you that when you ingest pepper because of the spiciness of those pepper, you must have an ulcer. I will say that the pepper itself is an aggravating or a triggering factor. So the commonest cause of ulcer is presence of bacteria,
and so
which you can actually
not fasting, not starving yourself of food.
Not at all. It's just one of it anyway, but it doesn't come first. But somebody that has an ulcer and is not, undergoing prolonged fasting, it tends to exacerbate it. It tends to bring about relapse or remission in any way, because the ulcer itself is a chronic disease condition that lasts a decade, even sometimes a lifetime. For as much as once you are diagnosed of ulcer, even when we know that the incriminating factor is Helicobacter pylori, even after the elimination therapy, when the causative agent has been removed, there are do's and don'ts. There are some certain food you have to abstain from to avoid this relapse of this ulcer. So the Helicobacter pylori is the commonest cause of this ulcer, which is capable of causing destruction to the lining of the mucosa of the stomach, as well as the duodenum. How do we get this Helicobacter pylori? We can get it through fecal-oral route, as in maybe coming in contact with stool of somebody who has Helicobacter pylori. Using toothbrush used by somebody that has Helicobacter pylori. Vomiting, coming in contact with vomiting. Because it dwells in the stomach. That is where the bacteria dwells. Lives. And what this bacteria causes is to cause destruction of the lining of the stomach. Not only that, apart from the Helicobacter pylori, we also have people that abuse pain medication. You see, pain is the commonest symptom. Some person come down with tooth pain, they come down with rheumatoid arthritis, they come down with headache, they come down with all kinds of pain. And when you take pain without doctor prescription,
that's when you take painkillers.
You take painkillers, exactly. When it's actually a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory.
And that's one of those drugs that people abuse.
Yes, it's the commonest drug of abuse. I will tell you that the possible disadvantage or complication, the NSAID, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, those painkillers will cause for you is the ulcer. So those NSAID can also cause destruction to the lining of the mucosas of those stomach or the duodenum I told you about. Not only that, apart from those NSAIDs, we also have people that take alcohol. Excessive alcohol abuse can also cause destruction. Not only that, people that smoke. You see that the cigarette that people smoke, the cigarette contains a carcinogenic substance, the benzoyl-pyrene. And when the benzoyl-pyrene is digested because of the metabolite it forms, like the benzoyl-pyrene 7-hydroxydithionate, it tends to, cause destruction to the lining of the stomach, thereby causing patients to be prone to developing peptic ulcer.
Okay.
Not only that, there are some disease conditions when you are in stress during deprivation, during stress, during, passing through acute difficulties, you can begin to have stress ulcer.
Okay, doctor, I'm going to pause you there. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, you have opportunity to ask Dr. Jolly questions that bother us on this topic we're talking about today, peptic ulcer. If you have any question at all to call Dr. Jolly, we'll put the number on air so that you can call us. We'll take a short break now. Thank you so much for joining us again on the program Health Living. If you check your screen now, the phone number is there. Please copy it and give us a call so that you can ask Dr. Jolly any question you want to ask on peptic ulcer. A lot of persons, at least today, will know that peptic ulcer is not caused by fasting or starving yourself and all of that. There is something already in your system that causes it. And if you come in contact with all that Dr. Jolly have said to us this afternoon, so give us a call on that number on your screen right away, and you'll be able to talk to Dr. Jolly Nosai-Guma. So Dr. Jolly, let's look at the symptoms of peptic ulcer disease. How will somebody know that he or she has peptic ulcer?
Yes, the commonest symptom of peptic ulcer is pain in the epigastrium. The person will have pain between the breast or sometimes in the upper part of the chest region. And this pain is a bony pain that can even wake patients up at night.
Okay.
Or that comes up very early hour of the day, that is very early in the morning. The pain, very excruciating. Apart from pain, patient can also have indigestion. Patient can have nausea and vomiting. They can have loss of appetite for food. And patient can also experience bleeding, usually when there is a complication, what we call hemorrhagic peptic ulcer. not only that, there might be food refusal or the tendency to now begin to eat, little foods. That is when there are complications. Not only that, patients can also experience weight loss or can also experience what we call anemia, usually when the symptom is asymptomatic, other than patient just going for medical assessment, and we now find out that the PCV has reduced, not knowing that there have been passage of blood through the stool.
Is it self-diagnosed, or you have to go to the hospital to find out?
Yes, just like as I said earlier on, the commonest symptom of this ulcer is pain, which is usually felt at between the breasts, but not ulcer will manifest symptoms. Some ulcers is just asymptomatic until the complications start coming, like a patient that is bleeding, that is experiencing hemorrhagic peptic ulcer, is bleeding, in the having upper GIT bleeding. So such patients, when there's stool, there's usually passage of melanal stool, what we call dark stool. So that patient might begin to have weakness over time because of the excessive loss of blood, via the stool. And when a laboratory investigation is not conducted, we'll now find out that the PCV has reduced. So in trying to evaluate the cause of the PCV, we now know that, this patient has an ulcer after doing other laboratory tests or investigation.
All right, the number to call is 0807777, that's 470300. Call in to ask Dr. Jolly questions about peptic ulcer. Perhaps you're suffering from it, or somebody who is suffering from all of the symptoms that he has mentioned. Okay, Dr. Jolly, is it a preventable disease, curable disease, treatable disease? Let us know.
Yes, ulcer is a preventable disease, but it's a worldwide disease, and persons with blood group A, we research, are most likely to suffer the gastric ulcer.
Okay, blood group A.
Blood group A, yes. People
not
with
genotype now, so don't mistake it. Genotype is different from blood group.
Blood group A.
Positive or negative?
Either positive or negative. As far as you are blood group A, you are most likely going to suffer the gastric ulcer. Whereas those that are blood group O, they will have what we call the duodenal ulcer. Not only that, for people that are older, maybe from the age of 45 to 60, 45 and above, they come down more with, duodenal ulcer. Whereas the gastric ulcer, people that are younger, 20s, 30s, as the case may be. But in overall, I will tell you that in preventing the peptic ulcer, other than those predisposing,
factors that you mentioned already. Yeah.
When you are avoiding smoking, automatically you are preventing ulcer for yourself. And when you also mind the kind of drugs that you take, that will iatrogenically result to the destruction of the lining of the stomach.
Well, you just talk about painkillers being a factor. What about prescription drugs?
Yes. When you take prescription, when pain is actually a symptom of many disease conditions. When you begin to treat pain, you are not using pain. That is more of a symptomatic treatment. When the cause of the pain is treated, you might not even need to live on painkiller.
On painkillers.
So a good doctor should be able to tell you the need of curing the cause of the pain than taking painkiller for a long time that will now, result to the destruction of the lining of the stomach, thereby causing the peptic ulcer disease. Not only that, when you avoid excessive intake of alcohol, you're also preventing, peptic ulcer. Then the use of spicy food, excessive salt intake, fried foods. When you take foods in moderation, of course, you're also preventing the peptic ulcer disease.
Okay. Let's look at treatment. How is treatment like?
Yes, the treatment of peptic ulcer is after a laboratory investigation has been done. As I said earlier on, the commonest cause of peptic ulcer is Helicobacter pylori. So when we do the urea breath test, it's a test that is conducted where the presence of Helicobacter pylori is not detected in the carbon label urea breath test. Of course, we cannot do what we call the elimination therapy by trying to kill or destroy this bacterial organism from the stomach. Not only that, we can also evaluate the presence, because not actually all symptoms that patient presents, not all abdominal pain.
All right, Doctor, hold on a while. I think we have a call now. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay,
Good
please tell us your name and ask your question.
My name is Victor. I'm calling from Benin.
Okay, go ahead with your question, Victor.
It's not concerning the ulcer. There's something I want to confirm, ma'am.
Okay.
My wife, before she had a nursing flow, she was really busy. So I thought it was pregnancy, so I bought breastfeed for her, and it showed she was pregnant. But she's still seeing her menses, and she's feeling pains.
Okay, your wife is pregnant, she's still in her period, and she's having pains.
Yeah.
How old is the pregnancy?
Just like 3 weeks now.
3 months?
3 weeks.
3 weeks pregnancy, doctor.
Okay, might just be an implantation bleeding.
Okay.
Well, it's possible for somebody to bleed physiologically when the blastocyst or the embryo is trying to implant to the endometrium of the uterus. Your wife can just experience small bleeding at that particular point in time. But it's not a thing that you have to overlook. An ultrasound scan will have to be done to see if it's a placenta problem. Because when the placenta is at the lower segment of the uterus, so that might also, what we call placenta previa, that might also be the cause of the bleeding.
Okay.
So I would advise you to go and do an ultrasound scan. But notwithstanding, if an ultrasound scan is conducted and the embryo is in a good state, it therefore means that it's a physiological bleeding, what we call the implantation bleeding.
Okay, thank you for calling. So, doctor, let's continue with our treatment.
Yes, the most important thing is for us to know the incriminating cause of this ulcer. And I will tell you that if other test is conducted, like the gastroscopy or the gastroduodenoscopy, we will be able to know if actually the pain.
Hello, caller. Can you reduce the audio level in the television set and ask question? Who are we speaking with? Hello? Okay, doctor, just go on. I'm sure.
So we have to know exactly if the cause of the pain is as a result of peptic ulcer, because other pains might also mimic the peptic ulcer. Okay. It could be pancreatitis. It could be, a gallbladder disease. So these are the things that we have to roll out before we now say, okay, we have to treat this ulcer. The reason why laboratory investigation, we cannot use the symptom alone to treat the patient. There are other tests that have to be carried out. And not only that, surgery might also be an option, especially when there are complications. I will tell you that patients who have had just a normal peptic ulcer in the past, but with complication of perforation means that with time, there is now a white tear in the lining of the stomach or the duodenum, as the case may be.
Okay, we have a call. Hello, caller. Hello. Okay, I think the caller left. All right, doctor, what's the way forward now as we round up?
Yes. You see that in treatment of the peptic ulcer, there are medical treatments, there are surgical treatments. But the surgical treatment, most often than not, is when the medical treatment fails. When I say medical treatment, it involves the use of medication without surgical intervention. So when we plan patient for surgical intervention, it means that the medical treatment is not working. And in that case, we can even bypass the stomach if there is, a sore. When we say ulcer means sore. just like the way somebody can have a sore in their lower limb or their leg, as the case may be. So the sore in your stomach is what we call the ulcer. So we can bypass the sore, or we can even do what we call a partial gastrectomy by cutting off that sore, doing a repair, what we call Barrett type 1 or Barrett type 2, depending on the bypass we want to do.
Okay, Dr. Jolly, our time is up. I want to say thank you so much for finding time to be with us on the program, and we hope to do this again. You know, a lot of people now know that ulcer can be very dangerous and it can be very deadly if you do not take action on time. So thank you, Doctor, for your time. We'll see you again next week on the program Healthy Living. Bye-bye.
ITV, certainly the best.
In the evening of the initiation day, all the newly initiated Edion danced to the residents of the Odion Way and also visited some homes of the various senior elders, where Chief Elder Ogbedo Onwonse was very conspicuous, especially at the country home of Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion with his family on the night of the initiation. On the following morning, as part of the rite to be performed by the newly initiated Edion in Okada town, the initiates, led by Chief Elder Ogbedo Onwonse, visited the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion, at his Okada country home residence to pay homage and appreciate him for all he has done in the development of the community, which has placed Okada in world map. They also thanked him for his role in the success of their ceremony. They commended the Esama of Benin as a custodian of Benin cultural heritage and for revitalizing the age-long tradition of the age-grade ceremony.
You come in and maybe you don't know I want game of watching.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin aqua seed. Ayo or aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
ITV, certainly the best.
Welcome to yet another fresh topic on the program Law and You. Every time we always find a way to make sure that you have rest of mind when it comes to your rights, because every day we get used to, all of these basketballs that we get from law enforcement agents when we are back on this. The one we're looking at this period, at this given time, is a very sensitive one where you have the right to protest or you don't have the right to protest. What should be done as regards the processes that you must engage in before you make a protest, and of course the punishment being apportioned to organizers of protest if it goes the other way around. Is it the same as those that will be apportioned to participants of protest, and many more? All of these questions are really questions that are mind-boggling, and we must find lasting solutions to, proper answers or solutions to these mind-boggling questions. My name is Philip Omo-Gyukmo. Discussing this with me, I have Fidelis Irey, a legal practitioner. Big thanks for joining, Fidelis.
Very happy to be here today.
All right, Fidelis Irey is also a human rights activist. Yes. Now, before we delve deeper into, protests, boundaries, and legal consequences, can you just give an overview or a background to what protest is all about?
You see, protest is very, very important in any government. It's the pillar of democracy. Protest is the pillar of democracy that is shaping the policies of government on area of education policies and everything that involves government. Without protest, there is no government that can do right. That is why protest is very, very important. The only thing, there are some unlawful protests. But when the protest is lawful, like when the people protesting are not armed, they are not causing any obstruction on the highway, they are not destroying properties, they are moving in a peaceful way, is very much allowed, and air their view to the citizens is very, very much allowed. But whereby the protests go along with destruction of properties
or hijacked by miscreants,
hijacking by miscreants, that is when it became unlawful. When they are arrested, they can be charged.
Okay, well, before you continue, you just made mention of the fact that to protest isn't a crime.
Yeah,
it's not a criminal issue.
At all, it's not
all right,
criminal.
every citizen have a right to protest.
Yes.
But you related it to the government, as in, is it necessarily have to be a protest against government policies? What about if within a private company, for instance, and the workers protest?
It's allowed. You see,
but again, don't forget there are terms and conditions, anyways, because in some private companies, for instance, you are not the staff are not allowed to protest. How do you see that?
They are being trampled with their rights, which is not allowed by law. It's not only even private, even some private universities, they don't allow it.
Are you saying that protest can be
it's
both
shaping
for
the government,
private and, of course, government agencies?
While the law put protest in general, it's not restricted to a particular
any citizen,
place.
Anybody can protest.
Yes, everybody can protest.
But
even in your house, you can protest.
Okay, but
your children
I want to understand the fact that it should be seen as a last resort mechanism in correcting the ills that such bodies want to, put to the podium or crucible.
Yes, that's why I said is the pillar of democracy. Protest is the pillar of democracy. Where there is no protest, you are living in autocracy. The government is autocracy. Even the company is autocracy. But where there is a protest in any company, school, and all that, it's shaping the government of that place.
Okay, but do you agree that protest should not just be the first thing that comes to mind if anybody or a group of persons are aggrieved with the policies of government or organizations?
I agree. Before protest, a lot of people have aired their view about what is going on.
So it shouldn't be the first thing to
No, it's not the first. Many have put up their view.
There must be engagement with the government functionary, engagement with the management of such organizations, or school, higher institutions, or
telling the authority, this is what is going on. We don't want this, so please do something concerning it. It's when they refuse, that's when protests come up.
As a last resort.
They are the last resort to shape it down. It's one of the greatest things to shape in anywhere.
Oh, well, but there is need for us to also look inwards critically and see when should protests be stopped or when it shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, it's when it became violent. When it became violent, when hoodlums have entered, when they have deviated from the purpose of the protest.
Okay, but how do you know? How do you know? Because most times protests can start peaceful, and before you know it, it's hijacked by hoodlums. Or how can we stop that from being hijacked by hoodlums?
That is why.
Or are you saying that the police should also be involved in guiding the citizens during the protest?
That is why in protests, police have no right to give you permission for protest. You don't take permission from them, but you take them as security during the protest.
Oh.
You are allowed to meet them. Please,
Okay.
you want to protest, let police follow. They will release security to you. It's in the law. They must protect the people going on the protest so that who hijack, so that many people will not come in.
Okay, you raised a vital point that the citizens or group of persons who wants to make that protest do not duly, need a permission from the police.
No, it's not lawful.
Okay, so they can only go to the police for protection.
Yes.
Announcing the date for the protest.
Then they will
and
come
the
out
need for them to
follow them.
Oh, okay.
That's what the law says.
Are such paid for? Are such gestures paid for?
It's not supposed to be paid for, but in Nigeria standard, I don't know whether they will pass back. But it's not supposed to be paid for because it's for the citizen to be protected, and the police are for the government.
But don't the police also have the right to look into the protest or the proposed protest and decide not to, give cover or even approve? Even though you said that
is why
they don't necessarily have to go to them for approval.
They have no power over protest. The only thing you seek you seek their security to follow you.
Whereby if they deny that, or they don't have the right to deny that.
Immediately is aid. We don't have right to deny. They will not deny. They must follow.
Okay, we've seen situations where public property really have been emphasized on the need to protect such, facilities, of government. At what point can we say protests shouldn't get close to sensitive property of the government? Is it in every protest?
Protest is not supposed to be for disruption.
Are there specific places that protests should be done? Because we've seen situations where government will have to restrict protesters, to a particular territory or a particular point, stopping them from going close to sensitive facilities like the Aso Rock in FCT, for instance.
The reason be that you see, like in Nigeria, by the time they get closer, who long can take over?
Okay.
That fear, that is why they can get to the gate, but they will not allow them to proceed more than there is a certain level they will allow them to proceed to. They will stop them. Even in our government house here, when you pass the first gate, this last gate, they don't allow them.
Okay, are you saying by law such restrictions are given?
Yes. So
by law to protect critical government infrastructure?
Because with anything can happen because the citizens, the people that are doing the protest, they have a genuine reason.
Yeah.
But other people can hijack it. That is just the major problem we are having in the area of protests.
Okay, but that's again where you said that the police can, prevent that by accompanying the protesters during such exercises.
They are accompanying. There are times when the protesters overwhelm the police. They overwhelm the police at times.
Isn't that the reason why there should be a body that can approve, that should be seen as approving such protests, looking into the aims and objectives of such protests in order to see if it carries the import of legality?
You see, every protest carry import of legality, because if it doesn't affect citizens, they cannot carry out protest. It's only when the protest deviates, then the expression of the protest started inciting people against government policies. Just like the one that happened at East, the Kalu issues. You understand? Then you are deviating from what you want to do. Then from there you see people, as a result of that protest, dying. They have deviated from the policies of protesting. When you incite government, you incite people against government, the language changes, they cannot leave you. Government cannot leave you.
Okay. So
sedition.
So there are laws that also guide this, yes. And also those who organize this protest, there are laws that guide their intrusion in order not to make it go chaotic or where violence will now be induced.
People, yes.
All right. Where you spoke about treason and all that. But okay, let's look at the trending aspect of protests online, as in on social media. We keep having contents that could excite the people to embark on protests. What do you see as a guide to protect that media space or social media space from being hijacked by such hoodlums again, or enemies of the government, that may not mean well for the state, but rather excite the people or citizens against government? How can this be protected?
It can be protected by just like America, just because our media here are not be highly monitored. At the same time, the equipments are not high standard.
Okay.
Like US, you cannot speak against the president of US. You go free with it.
What do you mean you cannot speak against? At least there's freedom of speech.
When I say speech,
if the president is doing something that is not right, what stops the citizens from speaking?
When I mean speaks, is saying something that will damage his own own character.
Okay. Or something that could be seen as treasonable offenses.
Yes, treasonable offense. They will fetch him out. And so we are very careful.
Okay.
But in our system here, such
technological
is not there.
Or you mean we've not advanced technology?
Yeah, that's why you see they can bring out any person and make a caricature in the social media, and it's not done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but you just made mention of a setback, a lapse that should be closed, a gap.
Yes.
You just made mention of an anomaly. And now, how do we close it? How do we tackle it?
Is for government to invest. They will invest in all these our technologies. It will help the country. And that is because there is no much investment. Instead of investing, they invest the money to themselves. If not, you could have seen all these things that is happening in Nigeria. Every person running a task have, even where there's any upheaval anywhere in this state, you cannot be able to trace it. You cannot be able to trace it. But we have money to invest. Just like Oyo State now that have got a plane to be searching the state.
For surveillance?
For surveillance.
Drone, you mean?
Yes. To be surveillance. The governor did that.
We also have that type, that in Enugu also.
Okay.
By Governor Pitamba.
Okay.
Okay.
I saw your own. You see, I'm very happy about it.
So it's what other states should deploy?
Yes, they should deploy to it. Because our people are no longer going to farm. Some of them, they are hungry. They can no longer treat their children. Because that's their means of their income.
All right, thank you for being part of this. In case you're just coming across this program, it's Law and You, and I've been speaking on the topic, the rights of the citizens to protest. Of course, what could be the legal consequences, of course, boundaries set in order to make sure that these protests are peaceful. And I've been speaking with a human rights activist and, of course, a legal practitioner, a member of the legal profession, in the person of Fidelis Areyi. Big thanks for sustaining your presence. Yes. We take a short break, after which we extend the frontiers of this discussion. Do stay. thanks for having you join us once again on the program Law and You. I still have my guest with me, Fidelis Araye, a human rights activist and of course a legal practitioner. Now let's look into the aspect of, if it goes sour, if the protest goes violent, who should be held more liable, the organizers or the participants?
It's the organizer. Organizer will be held liable.
Peradventure, the organizers didn't plan for a chaotic protest or violent protest, later hijacked by hoodlums and miscreants, and in the presence of the police officers that were supposed to accompany such protest. How then can organizers be held liable when basically they didn't have those aims and objectives to go violent at the beginning of the protest?
Both the organizer and those that they caught red-handed,
the participants,
they are liable.
They are liable.
Yes.
So they could face questions,
Yes,
and of course
yes.
possible prosecution.
Yes, they faced prosecution immediately. But the prosecution must be mined as regards the organizer, because they didn't send all those hoodlums. Yes.
Okay. It should be mild for the organizers. Is that what you mean?
Yes, but the participant, whom they called red-handed, they will go in for it.
Oh no. Let's set this straight. You may mention the fact that the police basically will need to accompany the protesters to protect them from destruction or protecting the protest from turning violent. When it now turns violent, how come will you now be holding the organizers? And the organizers are not the law enforcement agents, for instance, for crying out loud.
I agree. There are times when it goes sour, maybe as they start, they will overwhelm the police. When the hoodlum overwhelm the police, there's nothing they can do. The police will be running for their dear life.
Okay, again, let's look at what the police usually are forced to do, majorly when we have issues like this, where they have to, shoot canisters. Yes. In order to in order to weigh them off from that protest. Is it right? Is it lawful?
It's right.
Tear gas canisters.
To scare them, yes.
With tear gas canisters?
Yes.
Rubber bullets too?
No, rubber bullet is not allowed. They can't kill. There are some people that cannot be able to bear the pain.
Okay.
But tear gas is allowed to scare the populace.
Okay, when you say tear gas is allowed, does it mean in every protest they do it, or
no, it's not
at a point should the law enforcement agents do that?
No, it is when it's turning violent. That's when the agents do that. All those police officers, they are allowed to use tear gas to scare people away.
Okay.
But to release gun, it's not allowed. Just like what happened in the past.
Okay, so the usual practice, what you're trying to talk about, is that when there is a protest, for instance, even the police that accompany the protesters don't carry arms or shouldn't carry arms. Is that what you're saying?
There are times they carry arms, but they cannot use it.
Carry arms while going with protesters? That isn't right. Or maybe they may stay at a strategic point,
yes.
Protecting the infrastructures of government.
I agree. But they don't use arms. Arms is not allowed. They don't use arms. Arms is not allowed.
Okay, but ideally, the presence of a policeman by a protester could scare such a protester. Are you saying the police should, by law, accompany the protesters, or just stay away and be in strategic positions? Or how do they protect such protests from turning violent?
During violence, the police follow the protesters.
During protests?
Yeah, during protests.
Okay. So those ones that go with the protesters, they don't carry arms?
They don't carry arms, but there are those in the strategic places where the government property and others, they carry arms. The arms is allowed.
Okay.
It is only when it got sour that when the arms people came up to scare people, so that they will not destroy government property, so that they will not destroy private properties and others. Because by that time, they will be looting. During looting time, that is protest. But that's not how protest is meant for. That is unlawful protest. But really lawful protest unarmed, cannot block road, no looting, peaceful one.
Well,
what is allowed?
Let's look at the aspect that pertains to labor laws, for instance. You know, we've seen unions embarking in such protest and they are unable to be paid their salaries as at when due because they embarked on protest. The no work, no pay rule that applies on such unions when they embark on protest. How legal is it?
It's very wrong. You're supposed to pay them because during that protest, it is because of what happened that led them to protest. That pay is allowed. It only happened once. Others, they were paid.
Okay.
Yes.
So ideally,
when Oshomole was the labor leader, they paid.
But not just that, even ASU has been in such a challenge. ASU has been on the crucible over this, where they're saying that some of their salaries were withheld at the point where they embarked on the 8-month-long protest. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so, but you just established it, that by law, it's wrong to
hold their salary.
To implement the no work, no pay rule. So are you saying that the government that does that from the back door?
Yes, it's to triangulate.
Because at the end of the day, they get these orders from the court.
So that
they get these restraining orders from the court.
So that they will be afraid to protest. They don't want the value of the protest. With this, many people will not join the protest.
Okay. Are you by this saying that even the judiciary, connive with the executive in bringing about that aspect where the restraining order is given no work, no pay?
It's because the law was being enacted. That's why the judiciary came about it.
Okay, so there's a law on it.
Yes. If not,
that if you embark on a protest,
yes, it was during the Oshomole when it was when he brought about that no work, no pay.
Yeah, as a rule.
As a rule.
Not as a law.
Not you understand?
Or how do we differentiate?
You see that the country, the executive are always overshadowing all the whole arms of government.
Yeah.
They respect and they dance to their tune. And that's why they'll be asking for autonomy. Even despite the autonomy, we don't know how they will play their role where the judiciary.
Okay. Thank you so much, Fidelis Ayareye, legal practitioner, human rights activist. I do hope you oblige us in subsequent interviews.
Thank you.
Big thanks. Well, there's a much can take on the topic. Big thanks for joining us on this. We'll do the same time next week. I am Philip Omo Gyupon. Bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best.
Omonoba Nedo Ukwakwalopolo Ewai II, Oba of Benin, performing during the 2025 Ododua Festival. Ododua Festival is unique as it was organized in honor of Ioba Omoni Hwoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, as part of activities for her burial rites. The rich traditions and cultural heritage of the Benin Kingdom was showcased when His Royal Majesty Ewa II engaged the floor to perform during Ugie Ododua in the palace ground in Benin City. In the dance performance, the Ogbelaka royal drummers supplied the needed impetus and rhythm for the dance. However, tributes are paid by the head of Benin deities to the monarch, who was the cynosure at the event. The event can best be imagined as the spiritual rejuvenation, stunned, spectaculars and guests at the colorful ceremony. 7 masquerades representing 7 spirits and deities conveyed different meaning in company with the head of the deities of Benin, with the Oba of Benin, who exhibited a grand cultural dexterity in his dance steps.